Good evening. Good evening. My name is Megan Stahl, and on behalf of the President's Office and the Arts at Clark Committee, I would like to welcome all of you tonight to our Edward J. and Kathy Gallagher Arts at Clark Series event, Wit, Wisdom, and Worship with Monique Whittington. The Edward J. and Kathy Gallagher Arts at Clark Series was endowed by the Gallagher Family Foundation in honor of Kathy and her love for the arts. So this annual series of events is a reminder of her commitment to make the world a better place for all to enjoy. This is a very special year at Clark as we are celebrating our 175th anniversary. So the Arts at Clark series has an overall theme of home for the year, and we are featuring a year of performers who are alums of this great institution. Monique graduated from Clark in 1989, and we are thrilled to welcome her back home to campus. She is a woman of many talents, a gifted vocalist, actress, and playwright. She is also a praise and worship leader, a workshop facilitator, and an educator. She is dynamic, passionate, talented, enthusiastic, and we are so very grateful to have her and her family with us this evening. Tonight's concert will run about an hour with no intermission, and please know you're welcome to join us back out in the atrium after the concert to meet Monique. So thank you again for being here tonight, and please join me in welcoming to the stage Monique Whittington and the Whittington Experience.
much for coming out tonight, just for a time to sit a spell and listen to some music. I'm so excited to be here. And I titled it Wit, Wisdom, and Worship because I wanted to just kind of chronicle my journey as an artist and share those stories with you. Favorite things, that's one of my favorite songs. And I wanted to share a few of my favorite songs and different renditions with you. I developed a love and I guess you could call it indebtedness to the arts at an early age. I come from a musical family. My parents and grandparents were singers and songwriters and playwrights and visual artists, but more importantly, they used their gifts and their talents not only professionally, but also within the church. Some of my earliest memories of music was church music, singing in the church, and I was fortunate enough to belong to a congregation that really had an appreciation for sacred hymns and anthems and spirituals, and as well as contemporary and traditional gospel. My parents were part of a group called the CYCs, and that was the Christian Youth Crusaders, and they would put on concerts, and you know, they had to have a new robe every concert. And I remember as a little girl, I would get a little mini robe to match them. And we had a family group called the Good Samaritans, comprised of my parents and my grandparents. My grandmother actually was the founder of the group, and my sisters and some of our cousins. And outside of the church, though, there was rock and roll, there was funk, you know, there was blues, there was soul music, there was Motown, disco, and there were show tunes. My church had a fundraiser every year. We would go to the Candlelight Dinner Playhouse, and we would see all the popular musicals there. I remember seeing Fiddler on the Roof and Carousel and Annie and the Sound of Music. And we had to memorize the songs of The Sound of Music because my grandmother loved it. We watched it every time it came on television. And the song that she really, really loved was Climb Every Mountain. It was her favorite, and I believe it's because she drew a parallel between the words of the song and her faith. Scripture says that you have faith the size of a mustard seed, just a grain of a mustard seed. You can speak to the mountain and say, be gone, be removed. And the song, Climb Every Mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow, till you find your dreams. My grandmother would often say, Lord, if you don't move the mountain, make me a good mountain climber. And so I believe that's why she loved that song so much. And that's something that we used to sing around the house. It's quite evident as a little girl that I had a musical gift. People thought that, you know, I could really sing. And my family did all that they could to kind of nurture that through piano lessons and organ lessons. I just didn't like to practice, so I did not hone that skill. I wanted to be able to play like I could sing. But that's the only thing I kind of stuck with. I had the type of parents and grandparents that not only supported their children, but everybody else's child. And so I would go to all of my cousins' high school choir concerts, and when they were in college, I'd go down and sit mesmerized watching them. And I had a cousin named Daryl, who was a wonderful tenor, and I remember going to his college campus and seeing him sing Mac the Knife from the Penny Opera. I remember sitting in his room and looking at album covers of, you know, Gino Vanelli, I Am Love, discovering Boz Scaggs, Bobby Caldwell, that Blue-Eyed Soul trio there. I was mesmerized and intrigued by his quirky theater friends. And he was the one that took me to the music conservatory when I was a little girl. And I had some vocal lessons, and he also took me to my very first audition, which was for South Pacific, yes. And I remember a little ditty that I did for my audition. But I I attended Catholic school all the way from kindergarten all the way through undergrad. Each year we would do Stations of the Cross. And I always wanted to be one of the biblical characters. I wanted to act, I wanted to, be Mary or something like that. But in grammar school, they were like, no, you sing, you have to sing. I could never have one of those roles. So I had to sing this one particular song, and at that time I did not know that it was from a musical, Jesus Christ Superstar. I don't know how to love him, and I really think it was kind of inappropriate for me to sing at that age, but I didn't know better. And so I would sing this. I don't know how to love him, what to do, how to move him. I've been changed, yes, really changed. In these past few days, when I see myself, I seem like someone else. I love him so. Every year in grammar school, I had to sing that song for Stations of the Cross. As time moved on, I went to high school, and if it wasn't for music or theater, I really don't remember anything else. Oh yeah, religion classes, I remember that because Brother Frank was quite fond. And he went to an all-girls high school. I don't see how he did it, He looked like Matthew McConaughey, seriously, he was But I was a part of madrigals, I was a part of the choir, and I had the most wonderful drama teacher at that time. Her name was Rita Mazza. She was young and full of energy, and she just brought the arts alive for all of us. And I remember my senior year, we did a rendition of Godspell. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was just like the mesh of musicals in my faith, Godspell. And I was just so geeked about it because her husband came and built this wonderful set with scaffolding, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And then there was a college fair, and there was a hallway with all these tables, and I looked and I saw Clark College, had no idea about Dubuque, Iowa, but I saw that they were doing Godspell. Oh my God. Mom, they've got a college tri-weekend where I get to go to this school, and they're gonna do a rendition of Godspell. Can I go, can I go, can I go? So my parents allowed me to go. And when I got to Dubuque, it felt familiar. I didn't understand why. But the Galena and Dubuque area felt familiar to me, and I came here and went to TDH and saw the rendition of Godspell, and oh my goodness, they had scaffolding. They had scaffolding just like we did. It was an epiphany. I'm going to cry. I just had to go here. So when I talked to my parents about it, they said, well, you've been to Dubuque, Iowa before. And I said, I don't remember. Well, in 7th grade, we took a field trip. And we came to Galena and we came to Dubuque. And so that's why it felt so familiar. So I ended up coming here to Clark College and had the opportunity to have wonderful experiences as a theater major and communications minor. But also, at that time, I didn't have a musical theater degree, but I worked very closely with the music department, and so it was wonderful, wonderful memories of mine. But that teacher, Rita Mazza, gave me my very first professional job out of college, and that was with the Center for Visual and Performing Arts in Munster, Indiana. I did like a children's series over the summer. And as time moved on, I had the opportunity to do some professional theater. I was actually a substitute teacher because with my great liberal arts education, I was endorsed to teach language arts and music and drama, all of those things. And so I was a music sub for an entire district for a couple of years, and doors started opening in that arena. And so I was substitute teaching, and then I became a teacher and performing as well. And so during that time, I had the opportunity to perform in Ain't Misbehavin'. One time, just a local theater, and I did the Armelia McQueen role twice. And then I actually got the opportunity to understudy at the Goodman Theater for Ife Baker and Ife Butler rather. And opening weekend, she got sick. Opening night, I got a call. Be on deck, be ready. Okay? Yeah, Ife's not feeling well. Yeah, okay. Hour before the show, you're going up. They hadn't finished my costumes. They were sewing me into the costume as I was standing in the wings. I had shoes that were too small. I kept them on the whole time, and you know, that's why it pays to be ready. And I had the opportunity to do opening weekend. I was calling my mom, get down to the theater, come on! And so this is one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite things from Israel. You're working too fast. How long will I last? I'm flying high, but I've got a feeling I'm falling for nobody else. Mr. Parsons, stand by, 'cause I've got a feeling I'm falling for nobody else but you. I used to travel, sing out, reach hands to meet out. Now like I said, I was working in elementary education and performing. Back in the day when I was young, I could handle all of that, you know, rehearsing all night, getting up and going to work the next day for a very long time. But there came a period of time where I just was not happy. And I really wanted to perform, but I was a little chicken. To be very honest, I was a little chicken. But a friend of mine said, hey, I'm stage managing a show that's sitting down in Chicago, and we need an on-call understudy. And the show was Menopause the Musical. And I said, sure, I can do that. I just had to go to the theater every day and just be on deck until the show started. And then I could leave, you know. And Menopause the Musical was the type of show, it was a national show, it was everywhere, and every actress kept a backpack because if someone went down in another city, you would get on a plane and then your understudy would cover for you in the city. So I did that for like 3 years. And over the summers, I would tour with the show, and I was offered an equity contract. But I wasn't ready yet. And so, something happened when I turned 40. You know, it's like now or never. I just felt, you know, if I get out there and I don't like it, so be it. But I don't want to live in regret. And so I quit education totally. And at that time, I was a fine arts coordinator, so I had come out of the classroom. And so I quit education totally. And I got that equity contract, and I completed 3 national tours with Menopause the Musical, and had an opportunity to perform in about 44 of the 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And at that time, I was nowhere near menopause, you know. Oh, but now. It is real, it is real, it is real. They talk about, you know, not being able to read. Like, that's why I don't have my contacts on, because I can't see and read with my contacts in, you know. I really have to hold paper like this. So we're going to do a song in the Menopause the Musical called Change of Life. Thank you. So, right before I made that transition to full-time artistry, which I now know if I wanted to make my living that way, I could do it. I kind of had a moment because I had everything so compartmentalized, and I thought I can be a teacher, be an educator, or I can be an artist. I didn't really see where the two could coexist because the acting had picked up and the demands of being an educator had also picked up. And I remember one of those days going into work and having a bad day. I cried all the way to work. That wasn't the first time. But I couldn't shake it. And I was bawling and my face was red and my nose was running. I thought, there's no way I can face these children. I was a second grade teacher like this. And that was the first time that I thought, I cannot make it through the day. I wanted to turn around and go home, and I knew if I went home, I'd get in the bed and I'd just be depressed. And so I said, okay, thank you. I said, let me figure out something. So I knew there was a teacher who shared the same faith as I did, and I made my way to her classroom. And I just said, I just need you to pray for me that I make it through the day. I need to make it through the day. I've got to get it together. And she didn't ask any questions. She just began to pray for me. And the Bible says in Psalms 30:5 that weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. I don't remember any more of that day, other than at the end of the day, I was sweeping up the classroom after the children had left. And I looked at the clock and it was 3:45. And I realized I had made it through the day. And joy filled my heart. And as I was sweeping, a song came to my mind. Not what you would think, not a praise song, but a song from a musical. And I'm a firm believer that music carries a spirit, and that it may have been written for a purpose, but there's a higher purpose in the song. And so as I was sweeping in the classroom, I just started to hum this song, and I was filled with laughter. I thought, somebody's really think I'm crazy. I came here today boo-hooing and sobbing, and now I'm sweeping the room and I'm singing this song. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. And as I sang that song and I started gathering my things, the tears started to fall again. But it was different this time. They weren't sad tears. It wasn't miserable. It was joy. And as I made my way to the car, and I got in the car, I was driving on the expressway, and these words came to me. The Father, He holds tomorrow, so I've got to trust Him for tomorrow through Jesus, His Son. Just knowing He holds tomorrow, joy replaces sadness and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I cast my cares upon Him and I grin and say, changes in my life and times. I've sang a lot of songs, I've made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life on stages with 10,000 people watching, yeah. But we're alone now, and I'm singing a song for you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I treated you unkindly, but darling, can't you see? There's no one more important to me. Baby, please see through me. 'Cause we're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. You taught me precious secrets of a truth withholding nothing. You came out in front, but I was hiding. But now I'm so much better, and if my words don't come together, just listen to the melody, 'cause my love is in there hiding. I love you in a place where there's no space or time. I love you for my life, you're a friend of mine. And when this life is over, remember we were together. We were alone, and I was singing the song for you. We were alone, and I was singing the song for you. Thank you. I had such an eclectic background, just a plethora of musical genres, and it's all in my head. It was very hard for me to kind of narrow things down for tonight. Some of my influences, probably be surprised, but Babs is my all-time favorite vocalist. I love me some Barbra Streisand. I really do. Obviously, Donny Hathaway, that song for you, was a Donny Hathaway song. Also, someone who I thought had one of the purest voices, Karen Carpenter. Love her voice. Whitney Houston, Natalie Cole, Auntie Riri, God rest her soul, Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, all some of my influences. But I always purpose not to sound like someone else. Take every song and make it my own, and so that's something that I purpose to do. So here it is, I become a full-time artist and I tour, and I found out to be a full-time artist, you have to have a hustler's heart. I don't have that. I don't. Again, if I wanted to make my living that way, I could, but you have to go where the work is. You can't stay stationary, and I love to travel, I just don't like to stay calm. And so I ended up coming back, but I said, I can't just go back into the school system the way I was. And I had a wonderful principal that allowed me to work part-time. I performed part-time and was a fine arts coordinator part-time and music sub. And then because I had Type 75, that's an administrative certification, through a series of events, I ended up principal of a charter school. Yeah. I tell you, I went from literally being on stage with thousands of people and not batting an eye to standing before the board with my knees knocking and shaking. And I remember my first day on the job, the CEO, I gave her one of my CDs, you know, I'm an artist. I can bring your hearts to the skull. And she told me, you're not gonna have time to do all that. And I got to my office and I said, she don't know me, I'll do scissor kicks across this table, she don't know nothing. But as time would have it, you know, that's a life-consuming work. I have such a greater appreciation and reverence for all of the administrators I worked under. I had to go back and apologize to some of them. When I didn't get those lesson plans in. It's rewarding, but it is life-consuming, and I found myself being less and less creative. But I was principal of a school for 6 years. 6 years, and then I quit. And actually went back to the Board of Ed, CPS, at the school that I started teaching at. I have a very good friend who, the principal retired, she got the principalship, and she was like, I don't know what I'm doing, will you come and help me? And I told her that I would be there to be her support, that she was going to be fine, and she's doing a wonderful job, and I am her AP, I'm her support. So I said, same money, less work. But I love working with the children and sharing my experiences. And so now that I'm at a school where I taught before, I'm actually assistant principal to children whose parents I taught. And I'm so surprised somebody come back and tell me. I remember when we did cabaret at 2nd grade. And and now I'm singing, I have a band, or I remember when you worked with me and you helped me make a book, and now I'm, doing this, and it's just amazing to see where they've gone. And I'm a firm believer, you may not catch all of them, but if you catch a few, if you can plant those seeds. The Bible talks about, one man planted, one man watered, but God gives the increase. And I'm a firm believer in that we have to nurture our children. And I believe that the arts should be a springboard to teach all the other subjects. Yeah. If they can build it, it's going to stick. I'm a musical learner. I learned that very early on. I tell people now, I still know the preamble because of Schoolhouse Rock. And we the people in order to I still know it because I learned what type of learner I was. And then through the arts, my critical thinking increased and all of that. And so it's so important that we keep it in the schools. And I tell you, now that I'm 51, I'm bound and determined to live my life to the fullest. So there's no educator me, artist me. I'm an artist educator.
Yes, that's right.
And I believe that your passion is meshed with your profession, you're on your way to perfection. You're never going to be perfect. It's a journey. But when that passion and that profession meet, that's the sweet spot right there. And so I'm determined to live the rest of my life like it's golden. I admonish you, live your life like it's golden. So let's hit one. Dorch, my wonderful sister. I am the eldest of 6. They don't pay me any attention. I'm just going to introduce the band now. We have wonderful MD, Mr. Alvin Carter on piano. We have this awesome John on bass. And the fabulous Louis Powell on drums. All the way from Champaign City, USA, Chicago. With wisdom and worship. I tell you, I look at the whole musical theater background, all of that is the witty part of my life because I love to laugh and I love performing. And then there's the wisdom part, all of that I've learned all along the road. I believe that every experience that I've had professionally is preparing me for something greater I haven't arrived. The Bible says I have not yet apprehended, but I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling in Jesus. And so all of these experiences are wrapped up in me giving back for the generations to come. And so my ultimate vision is to open a Christian-based fine arts academy to teach integrity, artistry, and ministry. It's one thing to have all the gifts and the talents, but if you have a bad work ethic, it's not going to get you too far. I remember, you have to think for a minute, I remember working in theater. There were times when I got jobs because of my work ethic and my attitude. There are people that can sing circles around me, but I got the job. I believe wholeheartedly if something's for you, no one can take it from you. It may look like it, but I talk about Ife Butler. I love her. She's a wonderful actress. She's actually doing Gypsy right now in Chicago. And everyone knows that in Chicago, Ife Butler, one of Felicia Fields, they get all of the big musicals. And so I understudied for Ife twice. And for both of those shows, she went up and something happened where I had to take over the role for her or she moved on to another show. And so there's nothing that anyone ever takes from me. It's my time. And when that time comes, I step into it gracefully. And so I appreciate all the stuff, the shoulders that I stand upon. And so for me, it's important that our children understand that there are positive messages that need to be put forth through the arts. Arts need to speak about the time. The climate that we're in has me just scared. Politically, it just really has me scared. This time is just unnerving, but the arts are still there to inspire, to heal, and it's important that we do that. And it's important that they understand that they have their own songs, their own stories to write, their own dances to dance. They don't have to imitate or copy anyone else. And so that's the wisdom part. Being a school administrator is a ministry. Administrator is ministry. I kid you not. 3-4 weeks ago, at the end of the day, 3:30, the principal was not there, she left. A parent walked in and told the clerk, I want to kill myself. No, I just don't want to kill myself. The clerk said, give me your bag. And she called me, and I came to the office. And I made sure her baby was safe. And I had her come in the back. And I struggled because I honestly could tell it was a spiritual attack against her, but I'm in the administrator role. But I began to pray for her. And I prayed for her, and I prayed for her, and I prayed for her, and I knew that I still had to do all of the protocols and things that needed to be done as an administrator, but I recognized that she was battling some depression, and I said, will you please allow me to find someone for you to talk to? I did not feel comfortable allowing her to walk out of the building. I called 911, she wouldn't go with the paramedics to the hospital, and so I just said, could you please allow me to find someone? And I found a mobile crisis unit, and they came out, they did an assessment, they talked with her, but before they got there, she began to talk and she began to sing. And we sat in the office and we sang. That's the power of music, it's healing. And I tell you, that stuck with me for several days. And then about a couple weeks later, she came to me and she said, hey, I got a job. Things are going great. They found me some housing, and I just rejoiced because So many people are hurting. And we have to take what we do seriously. But there's power in the arts, and so that's why we have to have those positive messages and those positive images out there. And so I just wanted to share a song that, it reminds me of my grandmother, because my grandmother believed in you taking every opportunity and just doing your very best. And so this song is called I Hope You Dance. And so I'm going to sing it for you now. Such a powerful, powerful message. Thank you. That's another thing that I love to do. I love to mash up songs and kind of put them together. So this song is very special to me. This is a song that I heard sung here at Clark College. Wonderful, wonderful music teacher, John Lees. Is he in the house tonight? Most amazing voice, but this song was so special to me because I had heard the tune, the melody, all my life, and didn't know that it was the same tune. This is a song. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. It's you, must go and I must buy. I remember just hearing that song and I go, oh my gosh, I love that song, but this is how I know it. Amazing grace shall always be my song of praise. For it was grace that was my liberty. I do not know just how he came to love me so. He looked beyond my faults and saw my need. And I shall forever lift mine eyes to Calvary, to view the cross where Jesus died for me. How marvelous that grace that caught my falling soul. He looked beyond my faults and saw my need. I'm so grateful that he looked behind my faults, all of my mistakes. He still saw me valuable. Hallelujah. Again, just an eclectic background. And so I'm going to do a medley right now, some of my favorite things, a few of my favorite worship songs. Having grown up in the Baptist church and going to Catholic school, being in musicals, and all of those different things kind of put together. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, the fragrance of in my soul. Oh, the beauty of your holiness. We can sense your presence here, and all the day The theme for the 175th Arts and Clark celebration is home. And for the Christian, you know, heaven is our home. Yes. This whole world is not my home. I must be passing through. And so I hope you've enjoyed yourselves tonight. Have you enjoyed yourselves? And I think of Clark as home. I think of Clark at home. And I thank you so much for your support of me and for inviting me to come out tonight. This has just been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Give yourself a round of applause. I want to thank Joe and I want to thank Colin for all the emails back and forth and bearing with me as I was doing my administrative duties. And I forgot to answer that email. Thank you so much. And to all of my former professors that are here, I know Dr. Carol Litchen's out there, Dr. Christian's there, Dr. Lee's there. Thank you so much for your support of me and for being here. I want to thank my family, my mom, and my godmother traveled with me here. From Chicago, some alumni from North and from University. Thank you so much for coming up. And then there was a couple, Ray went to the University of Dubuque and he never left, and he brought his bride up, his blushing bride, and they've been here forever. And when we were in college, they would let us come over and eat all their food. Sitting there, I see you, God bless you, it's so good to see you. Thank you. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's joy, there's love, there's peace. Every day is howdy, howdy. No more tears, no more sickness, no more sadness, no more despair. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes the tall grass bend into leaning, suddenly the snowflakes that fall, they have a meaning, sprinkling the sea, makes it all green. Suddenly my world's gonna change its face, but I still know where I'm going. I haven't had my mind spun around in space, but I have watched it growing. And if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell me, should I run away? Should I try and stay? Or would it be better to just let things be? Living here in this brand new world, I pick up fantasy.